So we're starting to see President-elect Trump, appointing his cabinet, and we're starting to get a sense of what this future government is going to look like, and it's looking like shaping up to be a government that will have Republican majorities in Congress, which means that Trump will have a lot more ability to get his agenda through. And what's it going to mean in terms of his new cabinet and what we know so far for Israel? Will it be good for Israel? I want to read to you an interesting analysis from Melissa Braunstein in the Jewish Chronicle, where she's speaking about what we know from the appointments so far and what this means for Israel and the Middle East. Let's have a listen to her words. So she said that with the election over, the big question is who will staff the new Trump-Vance administration. It's famously been said that personnel is policy, so it matters who's hired in terms of competence, policy direction, and signaling inclusion to the various segments of Trump's coalition. Trump has pleased Jewish supporters with 3 early cabinet-level appointments. Trump chose New York Representative and House Republican Conference Chair Elise Stefanik to be his ambassador to the United Nations. Now, in case you'd forgotten who Elise Stefanik is, the congressman, have a watch of her here, grilling the elite Ivy League heads, presidents of various American colleges, elite colleges, where they are unable to say that supporting genocide against Jews, i.e. from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, globalize the Intifada, they're unable to say that it is always hate speech, that it depends on the context.
I will ask you one more time. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric.
And is it anti-Semitic rhetoric?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric, when it crosses into conduct that amounts to bullying, harassment, intimidation, that is actionable conduct, and we do take action.
So the answer is yes, that calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard Code of Conduct, correct?
Again, it depends on the context.
It does not depend on the context. The answer is yes, and this is why you should resign. These are unacceptable answers across the board.
So this is going to be the new ambassador to the United Nations, the House of Lies, where they spend the vast majority of their time obsessing over Israel. So that's obviously promising. And Stefanik has said she plans to advance the America First peace through strength leadership on the world stage. Stefanik has repeatedly spoken in support of Israel and Israeli hostages since October the 7th. However, she truly stood out and won many Jewish fans with her tough questioning of university presidents during the House's campus anti-Semitism hearing last academic year, which I just showed you. And given that Israel remains the UN's ID fix and the institution remains awash in anti-Semitism, Stefanik should be well prepared for her new position. Now, Trump's second appointment is also a New Yorker. He's tapped former New York Congressman Lee Zeldin, a Jewish Republican, to be his Environmental Protection Agency administrator. And before New York's Jewish Democrats, particularly the Orthodox, crossed over to vote for Trump this month, they voted for Zeldin when he ran for governor of New York as a voice of moderation back in 2022. Zeldin posted on X, Twitter, quote, "We will restore US energy dominance, revitalize our auto industry to bring back American jobs, and make the US the global leader of AI. We will do so while protecting access to clean air and water." Now, the third cabinet position that she's referring to, it seems like I'm hearing that this is only reports, it's not actually confirmed. I haven't yet seen for certain that it's confirmed. But this is by far the biggest name so far, Florida Senator Marco Rubio. It seems is being touted as Secretary of State. Rubio has represented Florida's sizable Jewish community in the Senate since his election in 2010. The New York Times characterized Rubio as a foreign policy hawk, taking hard lines on China and Iran in particular. He's also knowledgeable about foreign policy, fluent in all the issues he would have to handle as secretary. Finally, it's worth noting that unlike others who could have been named as Trump's Secretary of State, Rubio is not an isolationist and would immediately reverse Secretary of State Antony Blinken's intense hostile to Israel energy. America's allies abroad should be cheered by Rubio's selection. And as I say, this is not yet, I don't think this has yet been confirmed. And there are isolationists already saying, we don't know if this is confirmed and we don't like this. So let's wait and see. But here's a clip of Rubio. This is a few months into the Israel-Hamas war, where he shows that he clearly has perfect moral clarity. What?
Will you call for
No, I will not. On the contrary.
Rubio,
are you filming it?
Wait,
I want you guys to get this. I want them to destroy every element of Hamas they can get their hands on. These people are vicious animals who did horrifying crimes. And I hope you guys post that.
And what about the civilians that are being killed every day?
Hamas should stop hiding behind civilians, putting civilians in the way. Hamas knew that this was going to lead to this. So Hamas should stop building their military installations underneath hospitals.
So you don't care that 15,000 have died? You don't care about the babies that are being killed every day?
I think it's horrifying. I think it's terrible, and I think Hamas is 100% to blame. That's what I think. Make sure you post that, please.
So, Senator Rubio.
Clear moral judgment. That's what we see of Senator Rubio, and it's really so needed on the world stage. And too often in the past, there's been this kind of moral equivocation, ambiguity. You know, it's like, yeah, well, there's Israel and there's Hamas, and they're kind of get a bit of a grievance, and the Palestinians have a grievance, and that's kind of what's going on here with all this. It's so important that we're able to just say very clearly that the moral onus lies entirely among Hamas, which represents the deepest ethos of the Palestinian cause since its inception, which has been to try and kill off the Jewish state, kill off Jewish self-determination, which ultimately means threatening the Jewish people's very lives and security. The article continues, beyond this, the identities of other cabinet positions remain a game of speculation. Among nominations that American Jews may be watching closely, though, the Department of Education remains high on the list. And it's currently clear as mud who Trump wants as his Secretary of Education, or if he will pick nobody. Trump has said that early on he'll be, quote, closing up the Department of Education and sending education back to the states. Trump expects that devolving control of education back to the states will improve the quality of American public education and cut its costs for taxpayers. J.P. Green, Senior Research Fellow at the Heritage Foundation Center for Education Policy, told me, quote, dismantling Department of Education would have no negative effects on Jews or programs. Almost all the programs and functions of the department existed before it was created in 1980. They were just consolidated in one place, largely as a payoff to the teachers' unions for their support for President Jimmy Carter. Sure enough, spending has gone up on these pre-existing programs, but they have been no more effective. As for what closing the department would mean for Jewish students concerned about civil rights violations in education settings, Green said that having the civil rights function in the Department of Education rather than justice has nothing to help protect Jews, and moving it back will not hurt Jews. Whether closing the Department for Education would decrease the amount of woke, anti-Semitic indoctrination that's currently pervasive in schools is unclear. That depends in part on what authorities at the state and local levels mandate schools teach, and whether curricula can change in the education schools that have trained educators in progressive ideology for decades. There are still consequential positions like Secretary of Defense and Attorney General that remain unclaimed, but Trump is off to a strong start with his nominations. American Jews who supported Trump over concerned about anti-Semitism in Israel should feel comfortable that Trump sees them, and their concerns should be addressed by the incoming administration. Change is coming. And Melissa Braunstein is a writer based in Washington, D.C. We've also seen that he's looping in Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, a devoted Jew, to advise. Also, let's not forget, he played the key role in bringing the Abraham Accords to fruition, and it looks like he's advising on the transition team. So again, it's early stages. There's many different factors at play. There's competing camps over the kind of foreign and domestic policy that Trump has is sort of surrounded by and has the they have his ear, but so far from what we know and from reports, things certainly looking like we're going to have a lot of allies of Israel and quite frankly sanity for the entire world. Ultimately, whether you're on the Democrat side or Republican side, what we want should be the same. We should be wanting peace, prosperity, and stability for all. The question is simply how we go about achieving it. And if that is one's primary concern, then we know from history, even not distant history, but recent history, that the answer to peace always lies through strength. If you've made it so far in this video, I have a request for you. JTV has been having a really big impact in spreading the truth about Israel and creating positive associations with the Jewish people, Judaism, and Israel. We've really grown a lot, particularly in the last year, and we're having a really significant impact, both for Jews and non-Jews. But I really want to take JTV to the next level so we can start to compete with the other big online media beasts that are often peddling anti-Israel content. And the way we're going to do that is to scale even faster. So I'd love to build a team where we have other presenters doing shows like me. Let's start doing documentaries, supplementary content, animated content, etc., etc. And to do that, I'd like to build a bit of a team. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one fundraising day, just one, where we try and build up some funding in order to fund such a team. Now, to do that, it's going to obviously require people to get involved. And I'm wondering if you would consider, if you're watching JTV content and appreciate what we do and want to help partner with us in taking this to the next level and spreading the truth farther and wider than ever before, I wonder if you'd consider partnering with us simply by running a mini page on the fundraiser that we do, where you just reach out to your contacts on that day that we choose to fundraise and see if they'll all chip in. If you'd be up for doing that, of which I would be so grateful, then please click on the Google form link in the video description of this video, where you can simply just put in a few contact details. It'll be a very small commitment, as I say, literally just one day that we'll all agree upon as a collective community. But the impact is going to be so big. There's such strength in numbers. If we all pull together and do this, we can take this to the next level. And as I say, all of us can partner together in bringing and spreading the truth to the whole world. So please do consider clicking on that link, filling in the form, and I'll be in touch very soon to talk about the next steps. Small commitment, but a big impact. Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.